Well, this is a whole new venture for both of us, I think.
I think so, and I think you should call it no script or something.
No script, right? You came into the studio and I was like,
What are
Rita,
we gonna talk about?
I can't possibly imagine. Because when you came onto the podcast, which I think it was October, November,
It was last year, autumn. Yeah,
yeah,
sure was.
sometime in autumn, I'd been so burnt out by fighting against the system. In fact, last night I was having a chat with a friend of mine, and she said, "Stop calling it a system. It's not a system, it's a machine."
hmm
And I was like, you know what? You're 100% right. It is a machine.
If it's a system, it's supposed to work.
Right? Exactly. And it works like clockwork. It does work like a machine. And because we're not just up against, when we talk about misogyny and patriarchy, we're not just up against men, we're up against everybody. And I was so tired and burnt out, but I felt like I was fighting on my own. And that conversation that me and you had, you reignited something in me. And I was like, I don't know what it's going to be, but me and Rita have to do something together. And I don't know when it's going to happen, but I just knew it was going to happen.
You know what? I felt the same. I felt the same because our conversations usually flow
Mm,
really easily. You don't need to push it, but also we operate in the same
mm-hmm.
frequency. We see the things in the same way. So it's not me fighting you or you fighting
Yeah.
me. It's both of us agreeing, and maybe, um, if I may say so, um, w- we not interfere, but complete
Yes.
each other's
Yeah.
opinions, because I may say something that you may think, "Oh, I never thought about
Mm-hmm.
that way," and vice versa. It goes both ways. So I'm really glad that we get to do this.
Yeah.
I see the amazing work you do,
Thank you. And
and
you.
thank you. And I think sometimes we push, as women, we push too hard. We are
Yeah.
very harsh to ourselves.
Oh.
We're like, why am I not doing this and that and that? So much has changed in my life, even from the last time we saw each other. I just came to UK when we first met.
Yeah.
And now I have my own people here.
Yeah.
I have things that are ongoing.
Yeah.
So life goes on.
It does. And it's so interesting that you're saying about that pressure we put on ourselves as women, because I've been doing that a lot lately. I've been trying to keep up with absolutely everything. So I left my job. Part of the reason why I was so stressed the last time we met was because I was making this huge decision in my life, a huge transitional decision that was going to change everything for me. I was giving up a really secure job to focus on my work 9 to 5. Now, to be a woman and your career is about feminism and
Mhm.
fighting against the system, against this machine, to give up the security of a 9 to 5 job to do this full time is a really big deal,
It is.
because it's not something that it's not modeling. It's not like I'm getting brand sponsorships and deals. Like, for me, it was a huge risk to take. And I was so stressed at the time thinking, is this the right decision to make? And you walked into the studio and I was like, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I'm so glad I had that impact on you.
Yeah, no, you really did. And it's the power of finding, I think, for me, the right women, your tribe, the right
Yeah.
community. And that was the whole reason why I started my work. Even back in 2020, when I first started doing all of this on Instagram, I wanted to do it because I wanted to be connected to other like-minded women. That's what I wanted. That's why I started all this. And I think somewhere along the way, maybe in the noise and the busyness of life, both professionally and personally, I I didn't lose focus, but I couldn't see
It's too
anymore, if
much,
that makes
Leila.
sense.
Sometimes it's too much. You even have a kid. That on
Mhm.
its own, it's a full-time job.
Mhm.
Um, Me on the other side, in comparison to your job, to your work, I never worked 8 to 4 or nine
Mhm.
to five. My whole life, my work was very flexible.
Yeah.
That's why I can never go to 8 to 4 or
Yeah.
9 to 5, because I can't. It looks to me like I'm stuck in some environment and I can do what I want to
Yeah.
do. I can travel, I can do this, I can do that. So freelancing has always been my way to do things. Um, but being here, I quit everything I was doing back
Yeah.
home and I came to do my master's in UK. being here, I have realized that it's nice being a freelancer,
Yeah.
working whenever you want to work, even though it's very hard in these days, especially on the topics we are
Yep.
working on, funding wise.
Yes.
There's no money
There's no
supporting.
money. There's
No,
no money. Yeah,
there's no money
exactly.
supporting women
No.
empowerment,
Yep.
women's rights. And maybe this is the first time I'm talking about it, because usually
Mhm.
people are like, oh, who is paying you? Oh,
Everybody thinks that.
everybody thinks
Everybody
somebody's
thinks
paying
that.
you, and
Yes.
actually it's not true.
And that's not, and it's not true. And everybody thinks that there's so much money behind this, or like someone is fronting this financially. And it's like, no, I just care so much about the work that I do, and I believe in everything that I'm doing, that I just do it.
Exactly.
I was doing it just because, like, back in 2020 when I first started making videos on Instagram, I was doing it just not, I can't say for fun, because talking about these topics isn't fun. There's nothing fun about violence towards women and girls. Yeah, this is real life shit. But I was doing it just because I believed in it. And it's almost like having this vision of real change happening. And maybe I'm a bit naive to think that there could be some actual tangible change that could happen in our lifetime. Maybe I am naive. A lot of people I meet are like, Layla, it's not going to happen whilst we're alive. And I'm like, no, I believe it will. I 100% believe it will. And I believe in it so much that I will just do it. And I need people to understand that there is no money in this.
No, there's no money in this, actually.
But we need it. We need money in this. That's the thing as well, because without it, we can't create real
Exactly.
change.
Especially when we talk, because people now know that I stand for the LGBTQ community, especially on that one. You are paid to destroy the family, the traditional
so
family.
boring.
You are paid to do this. This is your agenda. And I'm like, please pay me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very happy
Yep.
if you pay me to do what I'm doing,
Yep.
because I am doing it for free.
Mhm.
So it's a struggle on its own, working on this field.
Mhm.
On the other side, it's something that I know we really love doing,
Yeah.
because it's eye-opening for other women. But yeah, I have had people say Soros is paying me. I have had people say Serbia is paying me.
Oh, we had that as well. We were called spies, everything. And because
So-
the idea of women standing up against the system and for other women is foreign, they think that you must be getting paid to do this. No, actually, I just do it because I believe in it.
Exactly. And no, it's not acceptable. I mean, as a woman, first, you are not supposed to have an opinion. So as long as you have an opinion, you're going to be judged for it.
Yeah.
And there's a whole system built to make you believe that you're not right.
Yeah.
What you're doing is not right. You know what I have started doing, Leila? I have started responding to comments.
Me too.
Which
I've
is-
started as well. So
which is
have I.
something I didn't do before. But I had this, I don't know if you have followed, but in Kosovo, there was this ongoing topic about an MP telling another MP, oh, that's why you're not married yet, or something like that. And I made a video saying, thank God she's not married.
I saw that, yeah.
I think you have reposted it.
Yeah.
Thank God she's not married. She has represented us in the whole world very nicely on everything that is going on right now in Kosovo and in the Balkans. And men specifically, but women as well, were writing the comments saying, oh, come on, you don't have offers. That's why you say that. You are ugly. That's why you say that. Or other things, and I've started replying to that. There was someone saying, who is going to take you?
Yeah.
And I was like, have you seen yourself?
If
you're rude, I'm going to be rude.
Rita, to tell you the truth, yeah, I feel liberated by responding now.
Yeah.
I love it. And I think there's this notion where people feel so entitled to make us feel angry because they're angry themselves, right? They're just projecting how they feel onto us. But even though a lot of the content that I make is, yes, there is a lot of rage behind it. We should be angry that this is happening to women. If you're not angry about it, you don't give a fuck.
That's one thing. The other thing, I think the comments only reflect what people, what they themselves feel about themselves first.
Exactly.
Because I would never, ever in my life go and tell someone that they are ugly.
Yeah.
not in person, not online,
Mhm.
because I feel good with myself. I feel happy. I feel beautiful.
Yeah,
And when you see that, you reflect that, and you see that at the other people.
absolutely.
If you feel ugly, if you feel unfulfilled with yourself, you're gonna see ugliness everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's why I do not take it seriously first. But now I've started responding and, telling everyone, if you're saying I'm ugly, I'm going to say it back. Somebody had texted me, oh, I wish you do not have kids because, we do not need you to continue this. How do I say it in English?
Like what your way of thinking, the
Yeah,
lineage.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, who are you? Firstly, it's so hard for women to
Yeah.
decide whether they want kids or not, especially nowadays. And by the way, women are deciding to not
Yeah.
have kids nowadays, a lot of them.
Mm.
And patriarchy, the system, the machine,
Mhm.
is the reason behind that, because it's so hard for them, and they choose the easiest way.
Yep.
I mean, you know yourself, you have a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know, and it's hard in another way for me, because I'm like, do I want a kid?
I tell you something, if you want your life to slow down, have children.
Exactly.
If you want your career to slow down or just die, have children. Bella is now 11, she's going to be 12 soon. And the reason why my career was so slow in its progress for the first 5 years, up until the last couple of years, was because I had to be a mum. I didn't have anyone else to share the childcare, the responsibility with. So I was the one doing the solo parenting. And that meant that I missed out on so much. I missed out on networking. I missed out on speaking gigs. I missed out on even doing things like podcasts because I had to be at home with my child. That was my responsibility to make sure that she was taken care of, she was safe, and,
Yeah.
and that's just the basic necessities that you should be doing as a parent. But it slowed my whole life down.
Exactly.
That's the reality. And I'm sick and tired of women who choose to be child free being vilified for it. I'm sick and tired of it. I'm telling you now, women, if you want your life to slow down, have children. That's the reality.
And on the other side, I feel like there's a time in your life, if that's what you really want, if kids it's what you really want, I think you're ready to slow down your life. Like, I was ready to slow down my life at a point in my life. Um, I was working, I was financially stable, I had a partner. So many things were going in the right way. So I was like, okay, maybe now it's time to have a kid, and everybody's pushing you in your 20s to have a kid, because you're like, oh, the biological clock, it's ticking.
Yeah.
So maybe because a little bit because of the pressure, but on the other side, maybe because I really wanted a kid. I don't know if I want a kid right now, but
You did at the time.
I did at the
Yeah.
time. I was okay with me slowing down my life,
Mhm.
because I felt like everything is going okay. But on the other side, we should not pretend like that's not happening. It is gonna happen. I
Yeah.
am carrying a kid for 9 months. I'm gonna give birth to that kid.
Yeah.
Everything in my body changes. But let's not pretend that's the only reason why we are
Yeah.
here.
I think the way the system is as it stands is if you want to be a mum, be prepared, whether you're in a relationship or not, be prepared to be a single mum.
Exactly.
That's the reality, because everybody can say, oh yeah, my relationship's great and stable. What happens when it falls apart?
Exactly.
What happens? What are you going to do? Even in the pregnancy terms, like, you're the one who's carrying the baby. That load can never be shared, which I think we spoke about this before. I think. I feel like even privately we might have spoken about this, but there is no equality in relationships because you as a woman, you can't ever gain that equality with a man, even just biologically, because a man can't do what you can. And that's impossible. That load cannot be shared. So if you want to be a mother, be prepared to be a single mother, whether you're in a relationship or not.
And it's easier then, you don't have expectations.
Mm.
Even though, you know what, Leila, I know these kind of men are very rare nowadays, especially the new generation. It's very hard to get a partner, to find a partner nowadays. And people don't understand how hard this is, because maybe I don't want to do life alone, But finding a man who actually fits or clicks all the boxes is so hard.
I bet. I mean, I can't relate anymore, but
Only if sexuality was a choice.
And have you seen there's a lot of stuff on social media now is like straight women are proof that sexuality isn't a choice.
Exactly. I get asked a lot, do you hate men? Rita, why? No, I don't know. I do not get questioned. I get, they tell me.
They tell you.
They tell
Yeah.
you hate men. But the question I get afterwards, especially from men here in UK, is, okay, I understand that you hate men. And okay, you have your own reasons why you do that. They ask me about the reasons as well. And I'm like, I have my own reasons. Then they're like, but you sleep with them as well. And I'm like, yes.
Yes. We were just talking about that before you came into the studio, about how even the notion of saying like it is all men, how it goes over people. So it's like in one ear, out the other. They cannot understand that even when we make statements like that. And I could say this till I'm blue in the face. So now just accept it when people say you hate men. Yes, I do. Because people cannot grasp the concept that when we say it's all men, again, we're talking about the system as a whole. We're talking about the whole machine. And a lot of the comments I get on my videos, which I know are echoed in yours, it's like, oh, but it's not all men. It's not all, you can't say that about all men. And, there are really good men. And I'm like, you're probably the men that I'm talking about, actually.
Exactly. Because good men don't get triggered.
Yes.
By us saying all men.
Exactly. And my friend was just messaging me earlier as she was like, the rage is really needed, because I think a lot of times my content does come across really angry and rageful. Yes, it should do. You should all be angry about this. And, I was reflecting on her comments and laughing. I was like, yeah, I will keep my foot on their necks for as long as they're killing women. I absolutely will.
That topic, because, when I get asked about this question, I'm like, do you know how many women get sexually harassed? Do you know how many women get killed by their own partner every day? How do you expect me to not be angry? And they're like, oh, there's the violence topic again.
Yeah.
Because people don't want to hear. People want to pretend this world is a really nice world. Yeah. Things are going okay. Everybody's chilling and having their own fun. It's not.
Yeah, because violence towards women and girls, because it's spoken about on social media, like it's become like a buzz thing, right? Everyone talks about it on social media, which is fantastic. We need everybody to talk about it. However, what tends to happen is then it becomes a concept and an abstract. It just becomes this thing that we just hear about, as opposed to this is real.
Leila, you work with GBV victims. I work with GBV victims. The first and the biggest barrier in a woman's life nowadays is a man.
Yeah.
The amount of fear women have and experience because of men, the amount of economic dependence is the right word, women have because of men. I have women, and it's not one, because I wouldn't be speaking if it was one. They say my credit cards, he has my credit cards, so everything goes in his his pocket. You get tiny bits. The fear that, because men tend to threaten to kill you and your family, and you start at some point believing it, because they are capable of doing that.
You should never put it past.
Exactly.
Never ever put it past. Yeah, never ever put it past a perpetrator to be capable of doing that.
So I meet these women every day, and I hear what they're going through, and my question is, why are you not angry? Why are there people out there not being angry about it? And I think it comes to not knowing, because a professor once told me, and I always repeat this. He told me, you know what, Rita, if you are educated, you have more responsibility towards God. Yes, because he believed in God, and a lot of people in our country believe that they are very religious and everything. And he was like, if you know, because that's how they measure responsibility. So if you know, he was like, you have even more responsibility because you know, and the other person doesn't know.
Yeah, sometimes I wish that I could be like stupid people.
Exactly.
Just be ignorant completely.
Exactly.
I feel like it's so peaceful. I understand what you, in that sense, I understand what you mean.
Not knowing, it's liberating. I swear to God.
It actually must be so blissful, but you're right. I think one of the reasons why my work is going down the route that it is, which is creating this global charter for survivors, was because of all of the work that I've done, which is where I worked with women here in the UK, whether it was supporting them to safety, whether it was working with survivors, whether it's delivering recovery work to them now, and then all the work that I did with Trime and will continue to do with that. I started to realize that based on my own lived experience and all of the women I was talking to on a daily basis, I was like, this is not just a personal thing. This isn't just, I didn't survive because I was the exception. I survived because I knew I had access to resources, to tools, and it was something that I was really exploring last year about why me? Why did I survive? And for example, women like our mother's generation didn't. Because something that I started to realize was that here me and my mum were in the UK, right? That's why we came here in the first place, to escape war and genocide, because this is supposed to be where freedom is and safety. So why was I able to leave a perpetrator, but my mum never did? And when I started to break that down, I realized that how systemic this issue is. The reason why it was easier for me to leave was because I had access to safety, access to tools. I understood the language, I knew the system, I knew where to go and get help. And it was still hard. I'm not saying it wasn't hard, it was still hard for me. But my mum had not even a quarter of that.
Exactly. And we should understand also, I know things have changed towards women's right, women empowerment and everything. I know we have gone places, but it's still not enough.
No, it's not at all.
Because you know what, Leila, when I think back, my mom, your mom, my grandma, my grandma was not allowed to go out by herself in the streets. And now we argue whether we are safe going out in the streets during night.
And this is why I tell that why I say I don't actually think there is much progress in feminism.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't think there is much progress in feminism.
It depends how you see it, actually. If you see it in the perspective of the Balkans, there is. Imagine, Leila, my mom, she's 58, 59 this year. So when she got married, she was 28, my age. People in her village, like the village where I come from, women wouldn't be allowed to go out to the supermarket.
Yeah.
You would see no women going to supermarket to get their essential things. So we have gone a long way in our aspect. Maybe not UK wise. If you see here, because I live in Brighton now, and I feel I said this the other time. I feel like for the first time like a normal person.
Yeah.
Because there are so many other things going on there, and people think the way I do. The university itself is so progressive.
Yeah.
Professors on the other side. So I really feel home,
Yeah.
if I can say so, even though I live here for only 8 or 9 months. So feminism has progressed back home, and maybe now it's a very crucial point where we should not allow to go the other way
Yeah.
around.
And for me, the reason why I say that, and it's something that I have thought about for a really long time, to say that there's not much progression in feminism, is because if there was the real progression that was needed, we wouldn't still be talking about gender pay gaps. We wouldn't still be talking about women not being safe to, it's not even safe to go outside your home, inside your home.
Yeah.
Women aren't even safe inside their homes, inside their relationships. One woman is killed every 10 minutes by a partner or a family member.
I know.
We're not talking about strangers on the streets. We're talking about people they know, and mostly men, in their relationships, in their families, in their homes. So if there was true progression, we wouldn't still be talking about almost 50,000 women and girls being killed a year.
Exactly. And I've decided, and I see you have decided to not be kind about it.
No, I don't have time to be, because where did being kind about it get us so far?
Exactly. You know what? If people come and say you hate men, I say yes, I do. If people come and say, all these things like, but you need a partner, family, this and that, I'm like, let's stop it out there. I cannot have this discussion anymore.
I did all of that. I did all of it. I had a partner. I had a daughter. I had a home. I had a good career. I was the main breadwinner. I was all of it. Where did that get me?
You know what, Leila? Maybe this is the first time sharing it, even publicly, because it has been a private matter to me. Um, I had 4-5 years relationship, and I've talked about it a lot, only because it mattered to me so much. And the way I was handling the breakup, my mental health, and everything else was so obvious, and I wanted to talk about it. But getting out of that relationship where I was actually happy made me think. During that time, especially, I was going through a lot of panic attacks, um, going to therapy, taking medication. It was super hard. So I had these specific thoughts in my head, thinking I could have done things differently.
Yeah.
So I started another relationship this year, last year actually, with the idea I'm gonna do things right this time.
Mm-hmm.
He was again an Albanian man.
Mm-hmm.
So people would be like, because I had this idea in my mind that I want an Albanian man. I want someone who understands my culture.
Yep.
And I'm still sticking to it. But my point is, when people would hear about this, they would be, oh, again, you know?
Here we go again.
Here we go again. But I needed to give myself a
Yeah.
last chance to do the things right.
Yeah.
And I did everything right
Yeah.
in the way I was supposed to
Yeah.
in my head. The guy was an average Albanian guy. He was all the time, have in mind these men, when they approach me, they already know who I am.
Yeah.
But it's a challenge to them getting close to me.
Yeah.
So I think it was a challenge for him too, getting close to me. So he was telling me all the time, you are too loud. You're
Ew.
too loud, Why do you hate men? Don't go on TV and hate men.
Ew. Go away.
I know, but I was accepting that.
Yeah.
Leila. I was saying, okay, I need to do things right this time. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
And he was telling me other things that I would say that they are not okay, only to realize at the end, I want to get to the point that it's really hard for women to leave.
Yeah.
Even when you are an empowered woman like I am.
Absolutely.
Independent woman
Yeah.
like I couldn't say, you know what?
Mm.
I couldn't at that point. Now I can.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I needed to do it the way I had it in my mind, like doing the things right.
Yeah.
That thing ended. And now I am in a completely different place. But it is so hard achieving the point, or reaching, it's the right word, reaching the point where you actually leave.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I have been talking to people, they say like after your 30s, breakups just feel easier than
because
the
I feel like you build up the muscle, but no matter where you go in the world, I think it is hard for women to build that muscle up because of the messages that are constantly ingrained in us that we are going to be lonely if we're on our own, and we have to be with a partner, we have to have families, we have to be a wife, we have to be doing all of this. When actually, I think some of the most liberating times of my life was when I was single and then realized I don't actually want to be in a relationship right now, because it was the first time I ever got to actually explore who I was.
That's where I am right now.
Yeah.
I know exactly who I am, but I am liberated on the sense that I understand now that I need no man in my life, especially not right now. And that is liberating in another level. Because we are raised being told that everything around you is going to be for a man.
Yeah.
You should take care of yourself because of a man.
Yeah.
You should protect yourself because of a man. You should be safe because of a man.
Yeah.
You should get educated because of a man. And so many other things. So that you cannot think being on your own and actually being happy.
Yeah.
Then you don't understand on the other side that there's some kind of pressure from your family. It doesn't matter how progressive they are. They do have an expectation of you having someone in your life. And all this then creates that not expectation, but that barrier, that heavy weight we have in our shoulders, thinking that we should do it all, but have a man on the side who always complicates things.
Yeah.
So I'm not complicating my life anymore.
Don't. And I think that's the best way to actually explore who you are. Even if you think about the way we talk about single mothers, right? We demonize them.
Yeah.
And we say that everything that's wrong with the world is single mums, that they are raising their children wrong. We constantly put this burden on single mums. But why is the burden even being put on women who are raising children alone, as opposed to the men who abandoned them? Or even if a woman chose to end a relationship just because she didn't want to be in a relationship and she's now raising a child alone or children alone, why are we constantly vilifying them instead of focusing on the system and the world as a whole, who have made it absolutely impossible for women just to exist?
Because you know what, Leila? Men never become fathers. And you are supposed to be a mother the moment you're born.
Absolutely.
So it's always going to be like that. Men are seen as specific human beings
Hmm.
who can have their career, go on with their life. Nobody asks them about the kids. Nobody asks them about their responsibilities. That's why they are very irresponsible. And on the other side, all this weight is on women, expecting from them to be the perfect moms,
Yeah.
to be the perfect wives, to be the perfect family members. I saw a really nice video saying the hospitality of your culture, it's all being uh, held by
By
women.
women. Yeah. Especially in cultures like ours. Oh, 100%. 100%. But I think that's, even if you look anywhere you go in the world, even here in England, that it is the expectation, especially in the hosting and being hospitable, is women doing it. Is women carrying the load.
Yeah, it's women who cook,
Yeah.
it's women who clean,
Yeah.
it's women who welcome these people,
Yeah.
it's women doing all the labor when these
Yeah.
guests arrive. It's women accommodating everyone who is
Yeah.
there. So it is really,
Yeah.
I never thought about it this way. You know, especially in our culture, as you said, during specific holidays, during specific months like Ramadan, for
Mm-hmm.
example, it's always women doing the
Yeah.
labor. And you never question it because that's just the normal way you have seen things
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
And at some point, that's why I told you, you know, not knowing it's liberating
Yeah.
because
I'm telling you, it's blissful to be ignorant. You don't have anything to worry about.
you're yeah you
Yeah.
you go write some comments at Leila's profile, write some comments at
Yeah.
Leila. You're saying that's a
Yeah.
bit,
Yeah.
that one is a bit, this one's a bit.
Yeah.
It's so easy,
Yeah.
and it's so hard on the other side doing the work.
Yeah. And for me, I think the reason why sometimes this work is really, really difficult is because once I can see something, I can't unsee it. Like going back to last year when I was realizing how deep this really goes, how systemic this is. And I really am so grateful for all of the work and all of the women that I've met so far in this journey, because they all have showed me that this is all so much bigger than me. When I realized how systemic this is, I was like, something has to be done about this. Absolutely something has to be done about this. I started researching what was available for women. Again, I keep going back to the me and my mum's story, right? Because it's, for me, it's like the prime example of how the system is continues to be violent against women. You can have two women who are in a safe country and are seemingly safe, and yet they're not at all. They have two completely different experiences. And I started researching like what Vogue documents exist, for example, with UN women and you know all those high up places. And there actually wasn't anything that just focused on domestic abuse. Of course, my speciality is on domestic abuse, right? There wasn't a one single resource where women, no matter where they live in the world, can go and access this thing and say, what are my rights in this country? And which is why, even in the UK, why, for example, migrant women, like women in our community and loads of other migrant communities here in the UK, why, regardless of them being here in the West, they still cannot leave because they don't understand their rights. They don't understand what help they can get. They don't even know if they're allowed any access to government assistance. They have no idea what would happen if they want to leave their violent husband. They have no idea where to turn to, where to go. And I could not believe that something like this didn't exist. And so I said to my girlfriend, I was like, I've got this idea. And she was like, okay, what is it now? And I told her, and again, like when I started all of my other work, especially like with the podcast, with Trima podcast, again, I was in floods of tears crying to her because I was like, I can't not do this now. I have to do this. And I started talking to a really small group of people that I trust in my life, who I see as mentors, and also who have really good positioning in the Vogue sector for their expert advice. Honestly, it was like 4 or 5 people.
Yeah.
And one is a diplomat ambassador who has worked in women's rights for a really long time. 2 are CEOs of a charity, of domestic abuse charities. Another one is a mentor. And they were like, yeah, no, you have to do this. Like, you can't not do this now.
And you know what, Lila, if I go back, I was just thinking about this, about where I am right now. When I first saw your podcast, first episode of your podcast, it's like, okay, there are 2 women in London doing this podcast, talking very honestly about our culture, and about everything else. And I cannot believe I'm here. I swear to God.
You are the all of my worlds colliding into one. You really are, because the work that I have done with women here in the UK, and then the work that I've done specifically for our own community, and now evolving the work all together, like this is like a perfect marriage, because I can't just hone in on one thing, because it's systemic. It's the machine as a whole, and all of my work almost collided into one, meeting you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I will continue to do the work for our Albanian community and the Albanian women who need to access help, but that's not enough. It's not enough. Tackling the system is a much bigger job, and I need so much more people on board to do this work.
I know.
I cannot do it in isolation. I cannot do it alone. And for me, it's really important to link arms, not just with anybody, but with women who get it.
And sometimes that's so easy to do. You just need to talk.
Yeah.
And that's why we are talking, because there are people out there listening. Sometimes I think we forget the power our voice has.
Yeah.
I have a lot of international people at Sussex, and just them approaching me and saying, I'm seeing what you do, but it's in Albanian, so I don't understand, but I see what you're doing. This is a very nice way of me and you doing this in English,
Yeah.
and approaching more people. What you have done with Trima, I think it's one of the best things that has happened to the Albanian community.
Wow,
because
thank you.
actually other people could reach out and see what is it for Albanian women.
Yeah.
How is it for Albanian women to live abroad, but also in general the culture and everything else. This is why I founded Page 19, because I was like, it's time to go international.
It's time. That's it. That's it. It's time.
It's time, definitely.
Yeah.
I was like, I need a feminist platform. I want to be able to go to London and interview Elif Shafak, for example. I want to interview her. I want to have a platform where I can actually do that.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, someone else, some nice person who maybe doesn't speak Albanian, but and so many limits are in our head, Leila. I have created platforms. I have 2 organizations back home, nonprofits, working perfectly, 2 teams working on both of them. I have a media platform back home working for locally for gender issues. But when you get that click, as you said, I was in Germany when I had that click. I was like, I want to start something else. And I was like, it's gonna be something that allows us to do our work also internationally, and allows me to speak internationally as well, because our culture and our experiences matter
I've
at
got
the end of the day.
goosebumps listening to you saying that. And again, it goes back to that. It's always like a little bit of a full circle moment for me, this conversation, because when you did come on to Trime in last year, it was that, oh my God, it's taken me this long to find my tribe, to find the right women to, you know, have these conversations with. And it wasn't that I wasn't finding it in our community. Everyone we interviewed, incredible, phenomenal, and I will continue to interview phenomenal women. It was that you made me realize that this is so much bigger than just doing this one podcast.
I know.
That's what it was. So, and it was as if like, why am I boxing myself into just this one thing?
And you don't have to be only one thing, because we
Yes,
also get
that too. I think that's what I'm trying to say, is that and especially like as women, it's like we're not allowed to be multidimensional.
yeah.
And with my work, there's so much to my work. Like I do nonprofit work, I do the policy reform, I do delivering the recovery work. I do so many different parts, and then I do the social media and the content creation and the podcast and YouTube and all of this. And people sometimes are like, you do too much. I'm like, no, I don't think you understand. I have to do all of this.
That's one thing. The other thing is this: we get used, or we get taught, better said, that you can only be one thing.
Yes.
You can be a teacher, and that's it. That's enough for you. When I was, doing nonprofits, the same thing that you do, doing media, doing television, doing this, doing that, people doing humanitarian work, and people were like, "You're everywhere." We have several sayings in Albanian that are exactly to explain this situation. Like, I can't remember one right now, but it's like you're everywhere. We see you everywhere. You should focus on one thing. Even my dad was like, you should have
just one goal.
Do you know where you
like we're
want
not allowed to have all of these aspirations.
No, we are allowed to be so many things. I can be a journalist. I can be an activist. I can be. I can help people in the humanitarian way of doing things. I can be so many things because I'm allowed to, and I have the capacity to do it. So I am gonna do it. And on the other side, people see us on social media talking, and they're like, yeah, it's easy for you to talk. Well, we do all these other things on the,
exactly.
And I'm like, can you please just go? There's a link in my on my Instagram profile. Just go click. It's my portfolio. You can see what I actually
everything that I do. Yeah, and I think that a lot of the time, the perception that people maybe have from just if they just saw me on social media was that I'm really, really angry and full of rage. Actually, I'm the most peaceful I've ever been in my whole entire life.
And when they meet you, they're like, oh, but you look different.
Yeah, yeah. And I think for me, I know how to channel my anger and my rage now, whereas before I was just angry. Yeah. And when I say before, I mean like really early on in my own recovery journey, like in the first couple of years after leaving the perpetrator. So maybe the first year I didn't feel anything.
Yeah, I know.
The first year was numb. Then the second year and the third year, after 7 years this year. So the second year and the third year was when I started to feel the depression and the grief, and then really, really angry. And I didn't know how to channel that. And now in my 7th year, I'm like, I feel so much peace and joy that now I actually allow myself to feel angry.
And you know what you're feeling. You know how to put boundaries to it.
Yes.
You know how to not get angry because you're angry.
Yeah.
So a lot of things are surrounded by just us accepting who we are, accepting the world for what it is, because it takes a lot to actually see the world for what it is.
Absolutely.
But I see you doing so many things. Going back to GBV victims. I see what you do, and I think it's amazing because we have some specific, especially women, have some specific expectations when they leave. And I see that back home as well. They're like, okay, I'm gonna leave and everything's gonna be over. It's only the beginning.
Yes, it is only the beginning.
And I see you doing that. What are you doing, by the way? I see you have this big idea, big things going on.
My God, which one do you want to talk about? So I deliver clinical recovery work. So the recovery program, the Survivor Circle, is a program where I bring on specialists, they're clinicians. I do a lot of work in the program with women, which is more about guiding them through the emotional side of it. But a big part of the program is that I bring in practicing clinicians to do nervous system work with women who are trying to move through trauma.
How can they reach you?
Come to my Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, I deliver masterclasses on a regular basis. They're free. Women can access that because for me, it's really important that even to be able to take on such big recovery work after leaving a perpetrator, there has to be a starting point. And there's so many barriers for women. They don't even know where to start, which actually I was going to mention about, when people are like, oh my God, you're so angry, you're so angry. Actually, if you ask the women in my program, they cry full on floods of tears when I deliver my masterclass to them. They're like, I have never felt so seen and heard and held in my whole entire, healing or recovery journey. So I know how to channel it. I know how to channel all of this energy. And for me, I keep that healing energy for the women in my program, for the women who are ready to take on that work, for the women who want a safe space to talk to other women about their own lived experiences. So I hold spaces within my membership as well. So every 2 weeks, we go online and we do a Zoom call, and I facilitate the space where women come on and they can just talk about how they think and feel. It's a different form of recovery work because I got to the point in my own journey where I was doing therapy every week. Every week I'd been doing therapy for 5 years. And was it 5 years? 4 or 5 years at the time, something like that. And I got to a point where nothing was progressing. And so I became completely obsessed with researching how trauma changes women. And I realized that this trauma had this huge physiological impact on women. So I started doing a lot of more nervous system work, so connecting the brain and the body. And I was like, oh my God, I'm onto something.
Yes.
But I realized that none of the work on its own was enough. So I needed the therapy, I needed the community, and I needed the nervous system work. So I've been able to create this program to marry it all together. So a lot of the women who are in the program have already done therapy, or they do therapy alongside it. And then in the program, we do a lot of community work together. And then we deliver like actual nervous system work with clinicians. Because I think on social media, especially for survivors, you can get really lost in what life should be like after leaving, especially where there's so many coaches online promising you empowerment.
And saying you're gonna be okay, just leave.
Yeah, and
it's
also
not
selling
it's not that
selling
easy.
selling life coaching packages off the back of the vulnerability.
Exactly.
And I'm really open and transparent that the program itself isn't about empowering women. You can only empower yourself. I can borrow my belief to you and be like, I believe in you, like borrow it until you get there yourself, but you have to get there yourself.
I am a firm believer that storytelling helps more
Yes.
than anything else.
Absolutely. And that's a big part of the work that I do, as you've seen. So the work that I do with women here in the UK is giving them the platform and the space where they come on and they share their stories. And that's been a whole movement for over half a decade now. The survivors who broke their silence was I used to call it a campaign. And then one of my mentors was like, stop calling it a campaign. This is not a campaign. This is a movement. What you've done is you've given women a voice where they otherwise would have never had it.
Exactly.
And I was like, oh my God, is that what I've done? It was this like aha moment. When I shifted my perspective on my own work, that's when I was like, oh my God, this is so much bigger than just what I'm doing here. But I need to find these other women in the world, not just here in the UK, not just in our Albanian community. I need to find women worldwide to do this work alongside with.
Yes. Yes, you always need a village.
Yeah,
to
you
do the
do.
work.
Yeah.
I know. I see what you do. I appreciate what you do.
Thank
While you speak, I have 1,000 other ideas on what we can
I
do.
know, I know, I know. That's the thing, isn't it? Which is again why I came to the idea of creating the global charter for survivors as well, was because it was not about it just being just a document or a resource. It's about it being a whole movement.
And we should bring that back home. I should deliver that somehow back home. You know why? I have this case lately. I don't know how to call it differently. Because you had the support, you had the
Yes.
resources. Maybe you don't know what your rights are, but you have your rights in UK. You don't have your rights in Macedonia, Kosovo, Albania. On paper, yes, not really in practice. So I have this woman, and there are plenty of women like her. She has a little baby,
Mhm.
3 months, and she's stuck in her home. I think still doesn't accept the fact that she is a victim of violence,
Yeah.
but she's seeking help in the sense, I need financial help. I need things for my baby. I need food for
Mhm.
my house. I have a place to live, but it has nothing inside and stuff like that. So I was telling her, you need a job. I'm gonna find you a job. And she was like, but I can't. I have a baby.
Mhm.
And that made me think so much on how I can help her, and not only her, other women like her, because first of all, you don't have child support. Like, you don't have kindergartens
Mhm.
where you can actually send the baby. Even if you do, it costs.
Yeah.
There are no ways of, um what's the word in English, like not having to pay for it if you're a victim of
Yeah.
GBV. Um then she was like, I have another kid at home. I have responsibilities toward that kid as well. And I was thinking all the way on how I can help them. And I'm actually thinking of a lot of things to
Yeah.
do when I go back home. One of the things was, our women are very talented at knitting.
Yeah.
So maybe I can create a business where they can sell things. Maybe I need to bring this home. And
Mhm.
there are so many things to be done. I am very surprised when people say, you know what, I have a lot of free time. I have, um, in Macedonia, in the Balkans, nothing works. You cannot
Yeah.
do anything about it. And here we are doing so many things at the same time, um, and not appreciating it
Yeah,
enough
I know,
sometimes.
right? Yeah, you're so right when you put it like that. And I think because life is so different here in the West to, I think, other parts of the world, especially for us back home, because life is a lot more slower,
Mm,
because the progression is different, right? Whereas here it's so fast paced that I think sometimes the things that burn me out is actually how fast paced it is, because I work very fast. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm fucking exhausted.
and
Without even realizing it, I
I know,
burn myself out.
I know.
And you're right. And I am really appreciative of all of I'm appreciative of all of the freedom that we do have here, especially when I compare it to life back home. But it's not enough.
It's not, it's never enough. Um, but also, it's this new modern way of doing things.
Mm.
Like, you take your laptop, going from Brighton to London, you can work. You can do something. It's
Yeah.
never a moment where you actually sit and you're like, okay, I don't need to do anything right
Yeah.
now. You know, when I was going through therapy, one of the things I had to learn was how to enjoy my free time, because during my free time I was working.
Yeah.
And my therapist was like, no, you have 3 hours. We're going to do something else.
Wow. Yeah.
We're not going to work. We're going to paint. I'm back at painting.
Yeah.
We're going to read something. We're going to do something that you really enjoy. And it was so hard for me back then to actually find things that I really enjoy
Yeah.
outside of my work. So I think that's a privilege on its own,
Yeah.
because not a lot of women get that 3 hour free time to actually do something for themselves. But we are so caught up to this way of
Yes.
living.
Yeah. And I know I'm very guilty of being caught up very much in my own work as well. It's like I pour absolutely everything I have into it because I love what I do so much. And I get asked this question, especially being in like the entrepreneurial online space. I have a lot of entrepreneur friends, right? And they'll say things to me like, well, why else have you created your business if not to retire young? And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I love what I do. I don't ever want to retire.
Exactly.
I want to do this forever.
Because people see work as something that they have to do, and we see work as something that gives us pleasure.
Yeah, because I don't see this as work.
Nobody, when you do something that it's true, when you do
Right?
something that you love, you never feel like it's work.
But then it's almost like a double-edged sword because then where is
The stop.
the stop? If I love it so much and the access that we have to technology, I can literally access Instagram, TikTok, and make a video whenever I want to at any point. When do we stop and actually take a break?
You know what? I will wrap up with this because
Yeah.
we have been talking for almost 1 hour now. Um, I was talking to my mom. I was back home for a few days, and she was like, "Yes, I only have 4 years until retirement." I was like, but what are you gonna do
Yeah,
home?
what
It's
are you gonna
good,
do?
go. Or she was like mentioning the fact that she can retire earlier
Mm-hmm.
because of her work experience and everything. And I was like, but what are you gonna do home? Go work.
Yeah.
And she stopped me and she was like, oh, I know exactly what I'm gonna do.
Oh, she needs to tell me because I don't know what I would do
She
if I
was like,
retire.
oh, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. I have a plan. I have my flowers. They need my attention. I'm gonna start knitting. I'm gonna travel.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this and that. And I was like, oh, she does have a plan.
Yeah.
So maybe it's good to know when to stop. And it's definitely a need.
Don't make me self-reflect. For God's sake. I
You're
don't
still young,
need to
Leila.
self-reflect.
You're still young. My mom is almost 60, so there's no hope for you.
I'm actually turning 37 on Sunday. And yeah, when you put it in the grand scheme of things, the last 7 years, my life has changed so much that I can't actually remember the last time I stopped to just be like, well done.
Well, take a moment then.
Maybe I will.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
It was very nice talking to you again.
And you. I feel like we've started something and I'm a bit
We have.
scared of where this is gonna go.
We have started something. I'm really glad that we get to do this
Me too.
in another level.
Yeah.
Sometimes you never know what comes next. But I feel like what comes next, it's wonderful. So thank you again.
And thank you.